First presentation, Mr. Reyes.
Colleagues, it's a pleasure to be here this morning, but in a way it's also a tough moment for me personally. As you know, I chair the Planning and Land Use Management Committee, and one of my charges is to move forward policy that speaks to some very complicated issues when it comes to land use. Now, we are the second largest city in this country. We are a city of over 3 million. Many of our districts probably are the size of many cities put together. And I can share with you that today, Gail Goldberg, who will be departing from the planning department, essentially is a person that has for me been a real inspiration. When I first met Gail, we were going through the interview process. And in walks in a professional person with a huge smile, with a can-do spirit that says what's important is getting back to real planning. What's important is to listen to communities. What's important is to understand what the people who are our stakeholders want as they define themselves within our city. Now, that's no easy task in the second largest city in this country, but she took it on. She took it on with a sense of spirit that said, let's be transparent. Not one stakeholder is more important than the other. That we need to address this issue of inequities, but we also need to develop an environment that's business friendly. Not an easy task. You have homeowner associations here. You have advocates for affordable housing there. You have folks who feel that different types of priorities are the priority. And in a city that is the largest population base of many other populations, second largest Mexicanos other than Mexico City, second largest of the Philippines other than Manila. I mean, I can go on and on. And in this context, Gail has been able to put together a whole new culture, a whole new sense of optimism in the planning department. But to take it a step further, because of budget cuts, because of economic tough times, we cut the budget by 40%. We allot resources to her, but the quagmire we call bureaucracy and personnel and rules and regulations, we couldn't get to the staffing level that we truly deserve. But I know she tried very, very hard. During her tenure, the Department of City Planning adopted the first ever strategic business plan with 4 initiatives that guide the department's work program. Do real planning, build an efficient and effective department, develop innovative solutions, and engage the public. This has resulted in an aggressive community planning program with 5 new community plans that are on schedule for hearings in the fiscal year 2010-2011. Now we say, what's the big deal about that? Well, I can share with you that in, I would say, almost half of the city, we have yet to finish a community plan in the past 15 years. While in other parts of the city, community plans and specific plans were being flipped out like pancakes. And you got to wonder why. And you could answer that question for yourselves. The completion of 10 transit-oriented development plans to build a sustainable city that supports our major investment in transit. Processing of the river implementation overlay to advance the environmental concepts of the Los Angeles River Revitalization Master Plan. the expansion of the planning functions with the addition of the Office of Historic Resources and Urban Design Studios. She has helped streamline the entitlement process, facilitate downtown development, curtail mansionization, which means really huge houses in places where they don't belong, limit medical marijuana facilities, create affordable housing and jobs, and survey potential historic resources to help protect neighborhood character and guide future development. I can go on in many ways, but I feel that the experience she has brought to the planning department has brought many of these disjointed elements together. So there is a positive sense of optimism in the planning department, and I hate to see her go. But I also know that she has been one of our great stewards in going out to various cities and states to talk about what the City of LA is doing, to change the environment so we can be more business friendly and our perception to be changed from the outside. For business to come to Los Angeles, they have to have the confidence to know that their industry, that their corporations, their businesses will be taken care of, and that we have a planning process that's going to address their needs. So I applaud her. I thank her for her wisdom. I thank her for her frankness. And I really appreciate the fact that everything she did was in a very transparent manner. And that, I got to tell you, in some occasions, not everybody left happy. But for me, that was a good thing, because that meant that everyone got what they wanted and everyone got treated fairly. So, with a heavy heart, I want to introduce to you our planning director, who has led us to a whole new level of efficiency, and that's my tune. But I can go on and about Gail, and I thank her, and I'd like to give you Gail Goldberg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, if I could, before you speak, Gail, we've got a whole queue of council members that want to add their good wishes. So by tradition, let us continue saying the good things about Ms. Goldberg, and then we will end with hearing from her. Ms. Perry is first, then Ms. Hahn, then Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Weezar, and Mr. Park so far. Ms. Perry.
Gail, I know that you and I have spoken about your leaving, and I'm only heartened by the fact that you will still be involved in Los Angeles, and you've told, and hopefully you'll share your plans and your intentions, but I am aware firsthand of the enormous progress you made in setting a new course for the department, and I am sorry that you're leaving, and I hope that your departure does not disrupt the progress and the evolution of this department, because I think we were headed in the right direction, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, at least for South Los Angeles, we were finally getting our due in updating the community plans. And so I know that I will be watching very closely, as well as my colleague here, to make sure that we continue the momentum of what you have started and finally realize the full potential of what this department has to offer. But I'm looking forward to working with you in your next life.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I just rise to really say what a pleasure it has been for me to work with you, Gail. In fact, I remember Jane, I think we went on a trip down to San Diego to look at, I forget the name of something Heights. Where was that? City Heights. And it was a beautiful planned community with residential, with libraries, with the police station, with the recreation center. And it was a part of your vision on how to make neighborhoods livable. And I knew then that you would have such a wonderful place and role here in Los Angeles. And I think you brought that vision, always trying to work with neighborhoods, always trying to make planning something that talked about improving people's lives where they lived. And I always appreciated that about you. You and I worked on probably one of the biggest proposals. It was to be one of the largest developments in the city of Los Angeles, Ponte Vista. And I was so proud of the way you looked at that so carefully, so clearly. Wasn't emotional for you, even though it was emotional for everybody in San Pedro. And you and your staff came back with what you felt this project should be under the planning guidelines that are so important as the foundation of how we move forward. Yes, we want development. Yes, we want investment. Yes, we want jobs. But we never want a project to overwhelm or not be in character of what is already there as a foundation for neighborhoods. So I really appreciated your work on that. We will miss you. I know I will miss you. I wish you well. And please know that what you did in your time here was so good and so important, and I believe will have a lasting impact on people's quality of lives here in Los Angeles. Thank you, Gail, for your service.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hahn. Mr. Rosendahl.
Gail, it's a bittersweet moment for me. I came in about the same time you came in. I came in from the elected end, and you came in from the appointed end. But the moment I met you, your professionalism was outstanding. Your clarity as to what the job is was very clear to me. In fact, my constituents love you so much because you believe in planning and putting the community in the room and helping figure out character, scale, neighborhood, what the zoning is, what the zoning was, what it needs to be, and so on and so forth. That kind of involvement with my CD11 constituents is greatly appreciated by everybody. And as you know, we can have recessions, depressions, but things happen in the 11th district because we got the ocean, you know, and we got a lot of rich people on the planet that come here. So there's always projects in the 11th district, and we got a half a dozen happening right now. But we could always count on you and your senior folks, all those folks behind you there, that would do the professional thing, the balance between the community plan and moving it quickly through the process so that we can get more jobs and more multiplier effect. So I agree with my colleagues. It's a tremendous loss. And I must say that we also tied your hands a lot with budget restrictions, with that union that didn't play ball with the rest, and they were on furloughs, and you never had enough staff to even do half the assignments that were put in front of you. So all I can say is thank you for your service. I'm very sorry to see you go, and I hope you come back in some kind of a way to work with all of us. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you very much. Mr. LeBonge is next.
Goldberg. All right, Gail, you came to the City of Angels from the City of San Diego, and I think what's so important in life is opportunities. And this opportunity that you took, you made an impact. Because there's an era that they're going to talk about there. There's not just city planners standing back there. There's people from the business community, and there's people from the neighborhoods. And I think there has been a great movement. And there's retired city planners right back there, Jane. But you made an impact, which is so important because you look at eras. The one era that I think always defines Los Angeles is the Mulholland era that brought the water to the Pueblo. You brought the conversation about land use to a much higher level now that we will see how we look at ourselves with the transformation, as Ms. Perry spoke of earlier, of her district in the downtown area and all the work. So I just really want to thank you. I'm proud that you lived in the 4th District because it's somewhat in the center of the city that gave you an opportunity to see all the city. And I'm proud that you took field trips with Janice to San Diego, to other neighborhoods. This is important to see. I think I know one thing for sure. I remember when I went to a town once, they had a sunrise to sunset law for their parks. And we didn't have that here in Los Angeles. This is like 25 years ago, and I told John Farrell. And we now have sunrise to sunset to maintain the balance of the park space so it doesn't get overrun at night. Guys like me and Ed Reyes who go in there and do what we did when we went to Cathedral of Marshall, to respect the land. When you see these other locations, it's so important. So you put your fingerprint real big on the 5th and 6th floor of City Hall, which goes to every border of Los Angeles, because that's what city planning does. Congratulations, Gail Goldberg. You're much loved by many, especially Renee Weitzer, my chief of staff, who everybody knows and loves, who sends her best regards to you right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. LeBonge. Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. President. Gail, one of the few times in my life in this office, I was speechless when I came to work and they said you were gone. To have worked with you on the budget and finance, for your reorganization, for the 3 years we invested in getting the fees on the plans, and Ed Reyes and I got together and put our heads together on the surcharge for the community plans, and to have those 10 plans moving forward with the thought that if we could ever afford it, every plan would be updated on a cycle. Those are things that are fundamental structural changes in that department. When I came in office, what I was concerned about is most of the planning was being done by motion. Somebody would create a motion and planning would run around and get something done, but there was no overall planning for the city. And so therefore developers and everybody would come in and have to do all this variances, which took up everybody's time. And so you've made that kind of impact. And I hope that colleagues and all of us will make sure that that legacy continues, that we continue to oversee those planning fees and make sure that they're appropriate, that we ensure that the organizational structure that you're putting in place remains, and that we look forward to making sure community plans are the base of what planning department does, and everything else is the exception. And it's certainly great to get big projects in, but they can't overwhelm the day-to-day impact on communities as to people having input as to where and what types of businesses should go into their community. We kiddingly say that Mr. Reyes has used the term all the time about adaptive reuse. In my community, they've been doing adaptive reuse for 40 to 50 years. They just create a new business overnight. A house becomes a auto park, a closed-out building becomes a church. Adaptive reuse has been going on. We just haven't legalized it, but it's there. And so we want to be able to have standards that are clearly in place, that everybody knows what the game plan is for the next 10 years. So I want to say thank you. The greatest news I heard is you're staying in Los Angeles, and so we look forward to seeing you, and certainly I just think you've done a great job. You've been the best planning director since I've been in office, and so I just want to say that to you and say thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Parks. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. When I was in the State Assembly, my seatmate was former council member Mike Fewer. And when I first mentioned to him that I was thinking about running for this office, he said, well, you better love land use. And now I know what he means, especially since I was appointed to the Plum Committee. And my first 6 months here, Gail, you have been such a great partner in helping me to learn the ropes and have a better understanding for our process, our planning process, for striking that balance between our city's need for continuing development while still preserving the integrity of our communities and the specific needs of our communities. Under your leadership, your department has been incredibly responsive to my office and always trying to work closely with us to strike that balance, and I've appreciated that, especially, as Mr. Rosendahl said, during these times when we've been under such extraordinary budgetary constraints. And Mr. Reyes has always been, a champion for trying to make sure that the department has the resources that it needs to be able to do its work, and yet we know that it doesn't have the resources that it needs right now. And still, in those very difficult times, you've managed to lead a department that is working way too hard, but they're doing the things that they need to do to try to strike that important balance that we have between economic development, providing housing and business development, while still preserving our community integrity. And I very much appreciate that. I wish you all the best. I'm going to miss you personally, and the city is going to miss your professionalism and your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. And I remember years ago I was asked if I wanted to be on the Plum Committee, and I said, heavens no, I don't want that at all. Instead they gave me budget. I probably should have taken Plum. I think that would have been a better deal. Gail, I remember when you came here, and I had you out to my district. You met with my neighborhood councils. You're always very collegial with people, very friendly. You have a great smile and a willingness to talk to people that is really refreshing. I was having a discussion with Mr. Rosendahl a minute ago. He took every one of my lines and said them, but I want to reiterate one thing that's so important. I hate to see you go, because there are so many things you had that you wanted to accomplish here that I was supportive of, and I know in the Budget Committee we made promises to you that we never kept. and we said we were going to support your growth, your plans, your expansion of the department that was so necessary to get the work done and the reorganization that you planned, and yet you never got the resources to do that. And I think it's unfortunate that you didn't have a chance to really show us what you were going to do with that. And it's sad to see you go. I hope you're very successful in your next endeavor, whatever it is. Feel free to use my name as a resume enhancer if it can help you. If you want to go to Arizona, I can get you a job. If you want to stay here, I can't help you much. But but whatever you do, I want you to know I'm fully supportive. I love you. You're just a great person to work with. I'll miss you here, and I wish you the best of luck in your next endeavor. God bless you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. And Gail, let me add my thoughts at the very end, and then we'd love to hear from you. When I think about Gail Goldberg, I can't think of a general manager who has been more warmly received and who is a warmer person than you. No matter where you went in the city, immediately, I think you humanized planning in a way, because if we're honest with ourselves, planning can get very esoteric, it can get very technical, it can get very exciting for those of us who like it, but we forget to speak in plain English. And you did a marvelous job of translating that to the average Angelino who needs to understand in his or her community and work through the fear that they have of not being in control, which is, I think, the dominant emotion that most Angelinos feel about their city right now. You did an incredible job attracting great people and promoting great people as well. And the mark, I think, of your legacy in the planning department is its emphasis, again, on not having to decide between entitlements and doing real planning. And thank you for teaching me and teaching all of us about how to do real planning. And we promise to continue that legacy for you, that the principles that we've developed and that the Planning Commission looked at and that we worked on together have no better laboratory than Los Angeles. And, the emphasis you put on historic preservation is going to be a big part of your legacy. And lastly, I think what you've done to really bring those workshops to the people through things like Planning 101 and just trying to explain planning to people, you now have an army of Goldbergites that are out there in the city who, I think in a positive way, aren't just ready to say what they're against, but really ready to articulate what they're for. And it speaks volumes about who you are, how you communicated that, and the staff that you built around you. So our very best wishes, stay involved in the city because we continue to need you. We need your personality, we need your warmth, your intelligence, and your perspectives on planning. So God bless. And with that, we'd love to hear from you. Gail Goldberg, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The best. Thank you. Thank you all very much. This was wonderful to hear. One of the reasons that I was anxious and very grateful for this opportunity was to urge you all to continue the work that we've started in the past 4.5 years. I believe that wonderful work has been done and that we are on a path, but it's a long path. It's not a short path. But I am heartened by everything I heard today that I don't need to urge you, that you do get it, and that you do understand that the work and the path that we're on will need your support and your efforts as we move forward, so I won't even bother with that speech, and I'm grateful. Let me tell you my plans. I received hundreds of calls from San Diego saying, when will you be back? And I told them that I'm staying here. I have come to love this city, and I believe that my work advocating for good planning in this city is not done. And hopefully I will be able to continue to contribute from another venue. I have been offered new jobs, and just to make it clear to everybody, I don't want a new job. Retirement is about not having a job that you have to get up in the morning for.
I will be doing work with several of the universities here. I am going to re-engage with the Urban Land Institute. Before I came here, I was a national trustee, and I'm looking forward to re-engaging with the Urban Land Institute, with the American Planning Association, and I have certainly offered up my volunteer help to help communities, to help my department, and to help others. Let me share with you that behind me is my family. I was told that I could bring my family here, and several of my family members wanted to speak, but I understand that that would be a difficult thing here. So what I would like to do is to tell you behind me is my planning family. Would you all raise your hand? My planners. And I have made it extremely clear to them that just because I'm not the planning director doesn't mean I'm not still the planning mom of this department. And nobody better mess with my kids. So my planning family is here. Members of the business community are here who have supported our efforts, if you'd like to raise your hands. And organizations are here who have supported our efforts. And members of the community and the neighborhood councils are here with folks who are, again, hopeful and anxious to see that the efforts continue. Members of my commission are here who want to support this effort. I am told that we do not have time for my family members. I think there were about 7 of them that wanted to say something, and that we don't have time for my family members to speak. But I'm told I can pick one, which is almost impossible. Now you're asking me to pick from my children. So what I would like to do instead...
Come on, who's your favorite, really? You can tell us who you like the most.
If you will bear with me, what I would like to do instead is to ask the 7 or 8 people who wanted to speak today to at least come to the microphone, say their name and who they were speaking for. I can tell you that all of them wanted to urge you to continue with the planning efforts that we have started. So if you'll bear with me, I would like for them just to introduce themselves and say who they represent, if you will bear with me. And then I'll let you move on. Bill? Who?
Bill Roshan. I'm the current president of the LA City Planning Commission.
Carol Schatz, president of Central City Association, the Downtown Center BID. Thank you, Mr. LeBon.
Good morning, Council. Catherine Perez, Executive Director of the Urban Land Institute, and we're very sad to see Gail go, but she's done a lot of great things for our city. I think you'll agree. Thank you.
Hi, Beverly Kenworthy on behalf of the LA Area Chamber of Commerce.
Matt Smith on behalf of the West Side Urban Forum and all developers everywhere.
Mary Leslie, president of Los Angeles Business Council. We're looking forward to working with you in your new capacity.
Thank you.
And finally, Kevin Keller, on behalf of all of the current staff in the department, we want to wish Gail the best as she goes on to her next endeavor. We're going to miss her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. And thank you, Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, colleagues.
Okay. Thank you very much. We do have 7 other presentations, colleagues. For folks who are here for the city business, I think you can comfortably know that we'll take up the rest of the city business around noon, but let's go ahead and call the roll so we can get through the motions that we have on consent. Mr. Clerk?
Alarcon, Cardenas, Hahn, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti, 12 members present and quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
All right. Mr. Koretz moves. Mr. Krikorian seconds. Without objection, those will be approved. Next order of business.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
All right. Mr. Labange moves and Ms. Hahn seconds without objection. If we can run through the agenda.
Mr. President, items 1 and 2 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay. Anybody wishing to call 1 or 2 special from the council? If not, let's go ahead and please open the roll on noting and filing 1 and budget and finance reports on both. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
Items 3 through 7 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
All right. If there's no objection to consideration, those are before us. Do we have cards on any of those?
Mr. President, we have cards on 3, 5, and 6. There's also been a request to continue item number 5 1 week.
Okay, if there's no objection, we'll continue item 5 1 week. That would be till the 23rd. And we'll keep that card in the file. 4 and 7, anybody wishing to call 4 or 7 special? If not, let's go ahead and prepare the roll on items 4 and 7 and tabulate the
12 ayes.
The vote. Next items, please.
Mr. President, would you like to recess the regular
meeting? So why
meeting?
don't we stay? We'll wait for the special meeting, and next we'll turn to Mr. Alarcon for our next presentation. Mr. Alarcon.
Council members, as you know, once a month I recognize people who are doing great things to make our children safer. So today I have my monthly child safety presentation. We're honoring a group of students who have chosen to directly impact the lives of young people in Los Angeles through enrolling in the Early Care and Education High School Recruitment Program that is put on by the First 5 LA organization. With so many parents working and so many people living away from their families, there's great need for qualified people to care for young children. This creates a huge need for child care professionals throughout LA County. And that's where First 5 LA's Early Care and Education High School Recruitment Program comes in. The high school recruitment program was started to encourage high school students to consider working with infants, toddlers, and preschoolers at a child care facility. Additionally, through this program, First 5 LA's goal is to inform, engage, and prepare students for a career in early care and education. So the ECE program funds 5 grantee organizations across LA County that work with local high schools and 2- and 4-year colleges or universities to introduce students to the early care and education field. What the students do in the program is, first of all, the program provides them with information about early care and education and career choices in this field. The students will receive information on careers in early care and education, listen to child care experts at speaking events, gain firsthand experience in working with young children through field trips to child care centers, child development departments, and colleges and universities through job shadowing professionals in ECE. High school students receive career and college counseling, take child development classes to receive high school and college credit while learning more about jobs. They receive practical experience through one semester of supervised internship or workshop at a high-quality child care or preschool center. And they complete a college-level child development course during high school or immediately following graduation. So these students are really committed at an early age to the concept of child care and early childhood education. Students enrolled in the program participated by submitting public service announcement videos informing their fellow students of the need for more qualified professionals and career opportunities in the field of early care education. What I'm speaking of is a competition that was established by First 5 and they have created a competition in our high school system, and the high school students participating in the program received training on videotaping techniques and were encouraged to submit contest entries. The contestants created 60-second PSAs with the early care and education program serving as their general theme. The students had the opportunity to write, direct, and edit video PSAs in which they informed their peers on issues related to early care and education while encouraging them to participate in the ECE HSR program. We do have a clip of one of the PSAs, which won for the technique category from a school in the 7th Council District, San Fernando High School, and it's entitled The Teen Pregnancy and ECE. So I'd like to ask if tech services can
is a societal problem, a family problem, and a personal problem all rolled into one. It doesn't only affect teenage moms, but our society as well. Did you know that our country's teenage pregnancy rates are higher than those of other developed countries? It also affects education. Only a third of teen moms rarely earn their high school diploma, and they have a less chance to go to college. You as a parent can make a big impact on your child's future. Did you know that 90% of a child's brain has developed by age 3? Therefore, the quality of care a child receives during these early years can have a direct impact on his or her future success.
So start communicating with your teenage child. Get them involved in sports and other programs like HSR, not to encourage them to be parents, but to learn the importance of taking care of a young child.
To find more information about early care and education and how you could be involved in your kid's life,
visit ecehsr.org.
Thank you. As you can see, quite a bit of time and research was put into these projects, and it's time to really bring the winning filmmakers. That particular film is personal with me because I was a teen parent, and I know that being a teen parent does not mean the end of the world. It means the beginning of a new direction. And in fact, I think these kids are creating opportunities for young people to have a better understanding of that than they ever did. So let's bring up the winners. The grand prize winner I'm trying to understand, what does it say, Jobs and ECE? Is that the name of the film?
Yes, that's the name of their program.
Oh, okay. Jobs and ECE at Narbonne High School is a special program, and the winner for the grand prize is Araceli Jimenez. Araceli? Here's Araceli. Araceli is a senior at Narbonne High School and participates in the HSR program through her local Boys and Girls Club in the South Bay. She plans to attend Cal State University Long Beach to receive her BA in Child Development. She aspires to continue her education at USC. I'm holding for applause, Mr. Smith. To receive her master's and PhD in education. She's been in the program for 1 year and is currently interning at a local quality early education center in San Pedro. And I understand she would like to say something. Please.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Araceli Jimenez. I am 16 years old and I am a senior at Narbonne High School.
I am Brianna Stanovich and I am 17 years old and also a senior at Narbonne High School.
We just want to thank everyone who made this experience possible for us, especially the Boys and Girls Club from the South Bay, the First 5 LA program, and the VPE program. This program has helped us as well as it might help other kids from our community in the future. It has made us realize that the early education field is something we would like to continue learning about. And we just want to thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize. I read my notes incorrectly. I was supposed to introduce Brianna as well. Let me say that Brianna Stanovich is a senior at Narbonne High School. She participates in the HSR program after school at the Boys and Girls Club in South Bay also. She aspires to attend Cal State University Long Beach to receive her BA in Child Development and plans to continue her education at UC Santa Barbara to receive her master's and PhD in education. She's been in the program for 1 year excuse me, and is currently interning at a local quality early education center in San Pedro, paired up with the Los Angeles Harbor College California Mentor Teacher Program. So, yeah, congratulations. Our next honoree is actually South Almonte High School. They had 2 winning videos, winning for creativity and winning for message delivery. Lily Perez is a recent graduate of South Almonte High School. During her senior year, she participated in the HSR program. In the fall, she'll be starting at school at Rio Hondo College and hopes to transfer to Cal State Long Beach, where she hopes to major in child development. She aspires to be a child life specialist. Mark Hurtado graduated from South Almonte High School. This fall, he will begin his studies at Rio Hondo College and plans to transfer to a 4-year university and aspires to become a broadcast journalist, and I'm sure was impacted by this project. Michelle Gonzalez is currently a student at South Almonte High School and will be entering her senior year in September. This fall, she will be applying to colleges and hopes to attend Cal State LA. Ultimately, she wants to obtain her PhD in psychology and become a child psychologist. I believe Mark was going to speak for this group.
Thank you, Councilman. Fellow council members,
Mr. President, I wish to thank all of you for inviting me, Michelle Gonzalez, and Elizabeth Perez, and of course everyone from the contest here today. I also feel that it is an honor to have met and worked with Ms. Chavez over here to not only give us a class that gave us instruction on how to do the job correctly, and then also to learn about childhood education. I feel that childhood education at an early age is very important. The reason why is that I went to preschool. Not many kids get that chance. And I feel that preschool is very important because they will succeed in the future. I also wish to thank Rio Hondo College for extending this opportunity to my alma mater, South El Monte High School. And I also feel that this program has changed me. It has changed me for not only the better, but it has also changed me in a way that I've never seen before. Before I went into the class, I felt that it was going to be a new experience, meeting new people, learning about education, but it was something more than that. Our professor for that class, Mr. Rosales, he connected with us. He knew where we came from, and I felt that that was an important part of the class, that we connected with Mr. Rosales, and that we also learned about his life experiences. With that, we did excellent work in the class. We had some pretty good field trips, but then we also learned about childhood education, not only in the early stages of childhood, but further on. As Barack Obama said in his State of the Union address, a high school diploma will not guarantee a good job. And I feel that childhood education must be the priority. Because if childhood education is not furthered and improved right now, well, then we'll just see many kids without many good careers. So that is why I thank everybody here for inviting us today again, for Ms. Chavez again, for giving us this opportunity, and of course the school of South El Monte and everybody that made this possible. Thank you very much.
Mark, if broadcast journalism doesn't work out, you can always be an elected official. I'd like to recognize the final school, which is San Fernando High School in my very own 7th Council District. They won for technique, the video that you did see, and the winner is Sandra Teo. Sandra is a student at San Fernando High and will be entering the 10th grade. I think that makes the video that much more amazing. Sandra has been in the HSR program for 1 year. When she graduates, she wants to attend a 4-year university where she plans to study to be a pediatrician. I think she's well on her way to her goal. Is Sandra, would you like to say something, please? Thank you.
Well, I'm Sandra, and the reason that I did this video is because where I live, I see a lot of young girls that are pregnant, and that got me thinking that programs like ECR, High School Recruitment Program, encourages kids to continue with their education and better our communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know that many of the recipients are not from the city of Los Angeles, but clearly we are in such close proximity. I am absolutely confident that every one of them will impact the city of Los Angeles with their careers. There are other people that we need to recognize. Let me recognize Deborah DeCesare, the Dean of Academic Affairs at LA Valley College. Academic Affairs and Economic Development at LA Valley College. Vanessa Chavez, she's the educational advisor on this program at Rio Hondo College. Renee, I believe it's Rivas, she is the Career and College Director at the Boys and Girls Club in, is that a she or a he? Is she? Okay. At the Boys and Girls Club of South Bay. Amy William Banfield, the Program Director of First 5 LA. Alfred Escudero, Account Executive and VP of Public Relations. And so we had a couple of people that wanted to speak, so I want to ask the representative from First 5 LA. Amy?
Yes.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Councilmember Alarcon. My name is Amy Williams Banfield, and I'm the program officer for First Five Los Angeles. And I just want to tell you that I know much has already been said about the program, and Councilmember Alarcon have already given you program descriptions. So I'll just let you know that First Five has invested $15 million in a workforce development initiative, and we have 4 programs under this initiative. And high school recruitment program specifically was designed to encourage students to consider ECE as a career. This program has been funded for 4 years to the tune of $4 million. We have contracted with 5 grantees throughout Los Angeles County. The grantees are Los Angeles City College, Los Angeles Valley College, Rio Hondo College, Boys and Girls Club of the South Bay, and the Children's Collective. These grantees are charged with collaborating with local high schools as well as junior and 4-year colleges to help students and direct them into a career in ECE. We started this contest, a video contest, so that students can pretty much speak to students and create a video that would speak to them in the sense that letting them know the importance of choosing ECE as a career. And the students have done a great job, and so thank you for the acknowledgement, and First Five is grateful as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have presentations for all of the sponsors of this program. We'll hand those out in the back where we can take photos. But I just want to say that these are young, wonderful young people who are dedicating their futures to helping other young children. Improving our kids' opportunities even before the age of 5 is probably the greatest thing we can do to positively impact our future. Unfortunately, with all the cutbacks at the state level, it's becoming an increasing challenge. And that's why it is so pleasurable to see these young people dedicating themselves to, if not improve the dollars invested in education, improving the quality of the service. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alarcon. And thank you all for that wonderful presentation. Just as a reminder, folks, we do have 6 other presentations, and we have about an hour to do it. So as much as we can, stick to the time that we have on the board. It would be much appreciated. That is never a problem. With our next presenter, Mr. Wesson, who has a special treat, especially for anybody in the council chambers who is looking for an animal companion this Friday.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. This Adopt a Pet program I've been doing ever since I was first elected to the Los Angeles City Council. It's something that I really love to do because I am an animal person, and I'd like to see everybody in our great city and in the county of Los Angeles find love with a companion animal. We at Los Angeles have several wonderful shelters with hundreds, thousands of companion animals. You name them, we have them. Today is kind of a unique challenge for me. We have an animal who's 6 months old. He is so cool that they named him Mellow. He came from your area, Mr. Rosendahl, and I find myself jealous that Councilman Alarcon could have people speak. If I could have Mellow speak, he would tell you that he would make a great companion animal, that he wants a home, and that he's looking for someone to love him. And he'd tell you the story of how special it is that he is even still alive. When he was brought into the first shelter, Mr. Rosendahl, he had been, we believe, in a car accident. Both of his hind legs were damaged severely. Our doctors, in fact, at West LA, Dr. Lee, they had to make a decision. They could have either laid him down, put him to sleep, or perform surgery and try to save this mellow little fellow. They opted for surgery. They were successful, but they had to amputate one of his legs. So we have a three-legged dog here named Mello, who gets along real well. He's only 6 months, and I think that by us saving his life, that there is a special person out there who is destined to be his mom or his dad. So if you're looking for unconditional love, and if you're looking for a puppy who really needs a home, who cannot fend for himself outside, but he gets along very well, please check Mello out. He's a Beagle mixed, won't get much bigger at all. He's got all of his shots. He's ready to go. And he, again, is 6 months old. We will keep him in the back for a while, so the city employees that are watching this on television, or if someone is watching this at home and they call 888-452-7381, he will be here waiting for you. He is ready to go home with you at this moment. We in the city of Los Angeles have a 100% adoption rate where it relates to our dogs. I urge you to make sure that we keep that perfect record going. So please call 888-452-7381. And I'm told that he likes to play with little chew toys. So we will give you this. This is a hippopotamus? A hippopotamus that you could take home with you. So again, let's find Mello a home today. Find Mello a home today. With that, Mr. President and members, thank you so very much. And it has to be a novelty for you to go out, talk to your friends, and say, I've got a three-legged dog. Not many people can say that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wesson. And any takers inside the chambers? Anybody looking for a puppy right now? We have a perfect record. We're not going to break that for you, Mr. Wesson. I'd like to recognize Mr. Rosendahl, and then I'll be up next after Mr. Rosendahl. Mr. Rosendahl.
Come on, folks. We've got to get our airport police back on duty over there at the airport. You know, we talk about a lot of things regarding the airport, but one thing that I want to be very clear about, I feel the airport is extremely safe. We've gone through a whole lot of issues in the last bunch of years on it, but Ms. Hahn is going to calendarize that whole issue on our August 4th meeting, and we'll have a full discussion of that issue. But, you know, it's always a special treat for me when I can recognize the officers that protect our airport. But I never begin any public recognition of our airport police without acknowledging the memory of Tommy Scott. When I first got elected to the City Council in 2005, a tragedy had happened at the airport just about that time. Tommy Scott, a great officer, was killed in the line of duty. We ended up with a memorial at the site there where it happened, and we've had follow-up memorials. And every time I'm with the Air Force Police, I think of Tommy Scott, and I think of you all putting yourself in harm's way for all of us around the planet that go to LAX. Just on that, give them a round of applause. And at LAX, our police there do it all. They inspect vehicles on the way into the airport. They keep the airport curbs clear and traffic moving at LAX. They respond to any number of incidents and emergency situations. The LAX Airport Police patrol the airport perimeter, and they keep us constant watch over suspicious activities, both inside and outside the airport. They double as our first line of defense, in some cases our last line as well. They also assist, by the way, in the Westchester area there, coordinating and working closely with the LAPD. But this is not about that. This is about honoring the airport police for what they've done in the basketball world. And, you know, they have teams like most of us in city government have various teams, but they had a dedicated and teamwork display by winning gold in the over 35 division of the police and fire games earlier this year, and bronze in the 3-on-3 games. Your victory makes us proud. And at the first phase of this meeting here, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Centeno to say a few words, and we're going to give out a couple of certificates to some of the players here. Chief Centeno.
Thank you, Councilmember Rosendahl. Council President Garcetti, the honorable members of the City Council, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to recognize the officers of the Los Angeles World Airports for their contributions not only in sport, but for the acts of bravery that they do each and every day and on specific occasions that we'll address today in acts of heroism. Today we have 5 officers that we're specifically going to recognize for their contributions in the area of athleticism and sport and or the acts of bravery on and off the job. But I'd like to just thank you. We're going to move into the reading of the certificates and recognize these fine men and women of the Los Angeles World Airports that risk their lives out there, really the front line in terrorism for aviation security here at the Los Angeles and Los Angeles Airport. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And the 2 that are here that are going to receive for your contribution to the LAX police basketball team in its success in winning the gold medal in the over 35 division, as well as the bronze medal in the 3-on-3 at the police and fire games held this year in Tucson, Arizona. Your victory brings us tremendous pride, as does your continuing service to our city and flying public at the LAX officers. And we have 2 of the winners here. And Chief, why don't you mention their names?
First officer is Officer McClitt. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Turn this around so they can see it. There you go.
Okay.
And Officer Gatewood.
Okay. Congratulations, Officer. Like that. Okay. And we go like this. Here we go. Okay. Thank you. Thank you both very much. And we're also going to honor, and we'd like to have Alvin Coe come on up. Okay. Alvin Coe has been a police officer for 6.5 years. Alvin Coe has a passion for the job and early on became keenly aware of the many threats of DUI drivers pose to society. In March 2008, he was recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Drivers with the coveted Deuce Award for the 67 DUI arrests he has made in the previous year. That was 2007. Coe was the first LAX police officer ever honored for this award. The number of his DUI arrests for 2007 surpassed that most of large municipalities and state police agencies for that year. Thank you, Alvin. Appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for being out there for all of us. Now I would like to ask Lauren Peaks to come on up. And we would like her father and her mother and her stepmother to come up as well. We know our fire chief, but we didn't know his daughter is right here. Okay? And let me read you this. On January 28, 2009, Officer Peaks was off duty and en route to the airport police station to work on overtime assignments. While driving across the 96th Street Bridge, Officer Peaks noticed a woman who was sitting on the railing of the bridge with her feet dangling on the opposite side. She stopped and started to talk to the woman, hoping that she would voluntarily climb off the railing. No such luck. The woman appeared distraught, implied that she wanted to jump, and refused to listen or comply with Officer Peaks' request that she come down. Officer Peaks grabbed the female and pulled her to the ground, where she held her and calmed her down. Although she blocked the woman's path to the railing, the female suddenly sprang back to her feet, ran to the other side of the bridge, and tried to jump. Lauren Peaks persuaded the woman and grabbed her a second time, once again preventing her from jumping. The woman continuously fought with the officer, trying to break free until additional officers finally arrived to assist. God bless you for that. Thank you very much. Very much. Okay. Let's bring it. Here you go. Everybody get in this photo. Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Madam President, for allowing us to do this presentation. And we have two more quickly from the Chief.
We have two other officers that acted with bravery and heroism. They were given their certificate last holiday season at the Christmas party by Councilmember Rosendahl, but I think it would be remiss to not recognize them today. The first officer, Officer McKinley, on November 25th, 2009, while driving home off duty on the 105, saw a Los Angeles Sheriff's deputy in a full struggle with a suspect on the side of the freeway. The officer did not have any help, did not have a backup officer. Officer McKinley, recognizing the need to assist, pulled over, ran up to, and assisted the sheriff deputy in subduing this suspect and taking him into custody. And I think without the help of Officer McKinley, this sheriff deputy could have really gone in harm's way and possibly gotten seriously injured. So in recognizing Officer McKinley for his acts of bravery, I just wanted to give him that moment of opportunity to be recognized. Officer McKinley.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Get a photo?
Photo, sure, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The second officer was Officer Smith, and on July 2nd, 2009, you recall there was an individual that went to in front of the very busy terminal, Tom Bradley International Terminal in LAX. This was right before the 4th of July holiday, so a high volume of people. But an individual walked up to one of our officers with a backpack and told our officer that he had a bomb in his backpack that he was intending to detonate. Without delay and hesitation, the officer immediately subdued the subject, separated him from the backpack, and dropped the backpack on the ground and pulled the suspect away from possibly detonating any device that was in the backpack. That officer, without any regard for his own safety and thinking of the safety of the airport, separated him and pulled him away. And I'd like to just recognize that officer for his acts of bravery, Officer Smith.
Thank you very much. Thanks again. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to all the honorees.
Being great officers at LAX, and better yet, great ambassadors for Los Angeles, who everybody comes through.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Our next speaker will be Mr. Garcetti. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I'd like to invite the very patient professional Filipino Nurses Society to come forward and join me here in Chambers. As was mentioned earlier in this meeting, this is one of the largest populations of folks of Filipino descent anywhere in the world, and certainly outside of the Philippines. It's something Los Angeles was proud of. It came from the beginning of the pobladores, when there's two Filipinos who set off on the journey to found Los Angeles from then what was Baja California. But we also have seen the strength of this city council chambers, of our municipal government, our county, and most notably our health care provision here in Los Angeles grow because of the amazing contributions of Filipinos and Filipino Americans here in Los Angeles. So today we're here to recognize the Professional Filipino Nurses Society, a nonprofit organization based in our city that aims to enrich the lives of Angelinos and Filipino nurses as well. In the United States, they provide their members mentorship, they provide them professional and leadership guidance, as well as scholarship to future nurses as well. A couple years ago, I was in the hospital overnight for something that was just fine, and I ate the wrong thing out of my garden, which I won't repeat. But in the middle of the night, I was awakened by two nurses who said, "Oh, Mr. Garcetti, can we take pictures with you with our cameras?" Of course, they're both Filipino. They knew who I was because of the close work we've done in historic Filipino town. but I said, can you wait until I'm not in a nightgown in the middle of the night, please? But it shows the closeness that we have had and the incredible contributions, I think, for all of us who have spent time in, whether it's checkups or whether it's for serious medical conditions, the amazing work that is done by Filipino-American nurses throughout our city. You may have noticed how common that is throughout Los Angeles, and let me give you a little bit of a brief history of how that has come about. Before World War II, our country sponsored training programs in the Philippines for nurses, with training comparable to that here in America, establishing a rich tradition in the Philippines of an educational engine to produce amazing nurses. After the war, exchange programs allowed people from other countries to come and work in the United States and to learn American culture. But when there was a shortage of nurses in the United States after World War II, many Philippine nurses were hired through this exchange program. And that set the stage for another influx of nurses in the 1960s and 1970s when immigration laws allowed Filipino nurses to come to America as professionals. I remember speaking to Kaiser a few years ago because we had fallen down and weren't producing many local nurses here in Los Angeles, and how they said, well, we don't really advertise here locally. Those who do graduate from nursing programs, we quickly are able to grab, but we do advertise still in the Philippines and in other states. And it just spoke about how tight that bond has been between so many of our medical institutions and Filipino nurses. Today, thousands of Filipino nurses help form the backbone of the United States healthcare system. In fact, in 2005, over half of the foreign-trained registered nurses taking their U.S. certification exams were educated in the Philippines. Filipinos culturally are known to care for others, have a communitarian approach to health, whether it's their neighbors, their friends, or aging relatives. And the training that these nurses receive and the dedication they have to continuing their education is absolutely first-rate. Our healthcare system has been made better by them, and today we celebrate them and how well they do their jobs here in Los Angeles. So with that, I'd like to present some certificates, and I'm joined by the co-founders of the Professional Filipino Nurses Society, Bernard Sanchez, who's the president and co-founder, and Christine Ultra, the secretary and co-founder. And before we do the presentation, Bernard, why don't you take the microphone? We'd love to hear from you first. Thank you.
On behalf of the Professional Filipino Nurses Society, my co-founder, Ms. Christina Ultra, right behind me. Where is she? Right here. Board of directors, volunteers, and more importantly, on behalf of the Filipino nurses in Los Angeles, we are humbled by the recognition that the City Council of Los Angeles has given to the Professional Filipino Nurses Society. We would like to thank the City Council, and more importantly, Council President Eric Garcetti, for sponsoring this commendation and believing in us. Believing in our mission and capability to reach out to the thousands of Filipinos tirelessly and conditionally serving the City of Angels. The mission of our Professional Filipino Nurses Society is to prepare our members to meet the challenges of the nursing field by providing opportunities for continuing education with the help of our mentorship program by other professional nurses who have gone through the entire process. We see how important the Filipino nurses are worldwide and how crucial every single task that they have to the lives of their patients. This is why we came up with PFNS, to be able to serve, advocate, and care for the advancement and empowerment of the Filipino nurses. PFNS was also created as an avenue for Filipino nurses to give back to the community. Amidst the hardship that many people go through because of poverty, sickness, or abuse, PFNS will lead the way in creating special healthcare missions locally and internationally in order to help those who are in need. We know that we have the capability, the talent, and the knowledge to help other people. PFNS is here to sustain that need and to move to action so that we can help those who need assistance the most. We hope that with this commendation, we can inspire everyone to do action, to inspire leadership, and to create change in the world. We salute all the Filipino nurses all over the world for their dedication for their profession. Thank you. I heard that.
Don't worry, you had time. You didn't use all your time, please.
Just say thank you.
Come on, please.
Thank you
Christine?
for having us. Thank you so much for having us.
They say that short speeches win elections, so I'm over here. With that, Ryan, do we have the certificate? And I'd like to thank Ryan Carpio as well. And Madam President, I think there's a few other council members maybe?
Yes, Mr. Koretz is our first speaker, and then Ms. Hahn.
We grab it?
Well, thank you, Madam President. I've done a lot of work relating to the nursing shortage in California, and I can say that without a doubt, without the Filipino nurses that we have in the state, the system wouldn't function. But I have a more personal experience also. My daughter was in Children's Hospital for 3 months, completely paralyzed due to an autoimmune disease that she's since made a completely miraculous recovery from. And the treatment that she got from a couple of her Filipino nurses was so sensitive and so professional and so capable that it's certainly something that I and my family will never forget. And so we thank all of you for your great work and your sensitivity and caring, and just have to express our gratitude.
Ms. Hahn.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to rise and salute Filipino nurses everywhere and feel the same way that you are such an integral part of our health care delivery, really across this country, in California. My own dear sweet father, many years ago before he passed away, at Daniel Freeman Hospital, the Filipino nurses, alongside of the nuns, took such good care of him. And later, fast forward 10 years forward, the very same Filipino nurse that took care of him at the end at the Daniel Freeman Hospital has gone on to form an agency with Filipino caretakers. And she approached my brother and I because we were looking for someone to take care of my mother full time, and so full circle. And now we have 2 beautiful Filipino nurses who are taking care of my mother around the clock. And it is such good work, and it is such important work. And please know that we salute you, we honor you, and we thank you not only for your incredible skills, but for your spirit, your beautiful, caring spirit, which transcends just the everyday skills that you must have. That's the component that I think we all have come to love and admire and treasure. Thank you for what you think.
Mr. Alarcon.
I just want to lend to the chorus of praise because 2 years ago I presented to Filipino health professionals because they were criticized on Desperate Housewives, and I was insulted by the comments made. But I also wanted to share with you a story. A comedian friend of mine was saying that he was ill and had to visit the Philippines, so he went to Kaiser Hospital and enjoyed the Filipino culture at Kaiser Hospital. The fact of the matter is the Filipino community has become the backbone of our healthcare industry, especially in hospitals. And we shouldn't be criticizing. We should be applauding you for helping us receive the kind of treatment with dignity that we should. And so I just wanted to reiterate that for those people who have made comments that were critical, they better get their act together, because chances are they're going to be treated by a Filipino someday.
Mr. Labange.
Salamat. Thank you. And thank you for my mother, who's up in heaven, who had great care at Kaiser. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam President. It gives me great joy to present this certificate of recognition to the Professional Filipino Nurses Society. As you can hear, those stories are part of the rich tapestry of care and caring in this city. We couldn't do it without you. We wish you all the best of luck, and know the City of Angels is behind you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garcetti. Thank you. Our next presentation will be Mr. Huizar, and then following Mr. Huizar will be Mr. Parks.
Would this be an appropriate time to let everybody know that an individual from the city attorney's office adopted Mello, so our 100% adoption rate is still alive.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Mr. Huizar.
Well, thank you very much, and that's certainly good news, Mr. Wesson, and thank you for the work you do on behalf of our animals and our dogs in the city. And colleagues in public, I wanted to introduce you to a very special individual, a very young individual who has accomplished a great feat at a very young age. You see, 2 years ago, Kelsey Lohman was your average teenager and just wondering what she wanted to do with her life. She then heard about the Young Eagles program, which is put on by the Experimental Aircraft Association, also known as EAA, which gives a free flight to kids 8 to 17 years old. So Kelsey's mom, Linda Lohman, drove her to Whiteman Airport in Pacoima, Mr. Alarcon, and on that beautiful April day, Kelsey took her very first flight in a small airplane. Her life has never been the same. Through EAA, she found out about and joined the Aviation Explorers, a group of young people 14 to 21 who all have an interest in learning to fly. Through the Explorers, Kelsey met pilots John Jones and Ruth Logan, who became her greatest mentors and inspiration, assisting her in every way possible and were vital to her success. Kelsey was pointed toward the 99s, which is a worldwide organization of female pilots. She became a member in December 2008. In February of 2009, she started flight lessons and by August took her first solo flight. In early March 2010, just a few days after her 17th birthday, I'll repeat that, after her 17th birthday, Kelsey passed a practical test and earned her pilot certificate, becoming the youngest female pilot in the United States. And she's in our chambers this very day. In May of 2010, Kelsey volunteered for the Young Eagles program and took 3 kids up for their very first flight, making a full circle and passing the joy of aviation down to the next generation. Today, Kelsey enjoys flying more than ever, going up almost every weekend and visiting all over California. How would we all like to do that? We're just visiting all over California. She volunteers for events such as Challenge Air and Careers Days in many schools around Los Angeles. In June 2010, Kelsey was the recipient of the San Fernando Valley 99's Rookie Pilot of the Year Award. Kelsey cherishes every minute of life and encourages everyone who has an interest to go out and learn to fly, saying it's the most fun you'll ever have. We wanted to recognize young Kelsey for her accomplishments, for being one of the first and youngest, for being the youngest pilot to earn her license in the United States. She is an Eagle Rock resident, and we're very proud that in Eagle Rock, we have a small town feel in this large metropolitan area, and we are celebrating Kelsey along with our centennial celebration next year, where we are celebrating 100 years of being our beautiful Eagle Rock community. So at this time, Kelsey, on behalf of the City Council, our mayor, we would like to present to you this resolution honoring you for your accomplishment, and we're very proud that you are an Angelino here in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Say a few words. Oh, sure. Mr. Alarcon.
I'd like to thank Mr. Huizar for so graciously presenting me with this award, and the council for having me here. And I'd like to thank my mom for her endless patience in driving me around. I don't have my driver's license yet. I'd like to thank my family and friends for all their love and support, and John Jones and Ruth Logan. I would seriously not be here without them. You know, they've helped me so much. And I'd also like to thank Zanae Luera. I hope I said that right. I would still be wandering around the building lost if it wasn't for her. It's a big place. And it's because of programs like the Aviation Explorers that average kids like me can do great things. And I thank you so much for that. And Thank you again.
You want to introduce everybody?
Mr. Alarcon.
Mr. Alarcon.
No, Kelsey, I just want to say thank you to you and Mr. Weezer. I was not aware of that Kelsey's career in aviation began at Whiteman Airport. It's a little-known airport in the heart of Pacoima, and I have to tell you, I think I was there that day 2 years ago. I know I went to one of the programs and made a presentation because I was very excited because so many kids in communities like Pacoima and even Eagle Rock and elsewhere throughout they've never even been in a plane, and some of them not even in a train or a bus. So to have the opportunity to fly and experience that is just an amazing accomplishment in and of itself. But then to take that experience and turn it into perhaps a career and even more so giving back what you received tenfold, 100-fold, and hopefully 1,000-fold, I think is a tribute to you and who you are as an individual. But hopefully it will also inspire other future flyers to give back to their communities and to consider a field that they otherwise would never consider, and that is flying as a profession. Thank you very much, and thanks, Mr. Weezer, for mentioning Whiteman Airport.
And thank you for having that airport, Mr. Alarcon. And Kelsey, do you want to introduce who's here, your family and friends who are here?
Well, I have right here my mother, and Linda Lohman, and my father, Robert Lohman, my sister, Kendall Lohman, my grandma, Mary Lohman, and my brother, Kyle Lohman, my neighbor, Doris Thielen, my mentor, Ruth Logan, and her husband, and my great friend, Bill Logan. I have my other mentor and one of my best friends, John Jones, and longtime friends and neighbors, Darius Frakes, Sam Frakes, and Levi Frakes.
Mr. Labange.
Mr. Labange.
Mr. Labange.
Mr. Alarcon, you have a big air show coming up in your district on Hanson Dam. I think it's important. Kelsey, you may like this.
July 27th, please come on down.
American
Heroes. Fly.
American Heroes. You can fly. And also, when we honored Ms. Goldberg earlier, the planning director retired. I was visiting planning yesterday. There's old maps of the city on the walls, and there's this old map in the 30s and 40s that has multiple airports, including Whiteman, but all over in the city. The Glendale Airport, there was an airport where Traveltown is in Griffith Park for the CCCs. So it's an amazing field that you're in, and this is the heart of aviation, so it's only fitting here. And I like what you said about your mother, because it wasn't for our mothers who push us and get us to Little League or sports or flying. It's very special, so congratulations. And Mr. Weezer, this is great, and I just know if Kelsey's ever in trouble, Eagle Rock in Colorado, that's pretty wide up there. She can land right by 42s at Firehouse, and they'll be there.
It's very true, Mr. Labange. You can land on Colorado or Eagle Rock Boulevard. It's very wide open space there. Again, congratulations, Kelsey. We are so proud of you, and thank you, Mr. Alarcon. Thank you, Mr. Labange, and now the council for acknowledging one of our true heroes and a bright, shining star up in the skies flying around, and we'll work on that driver's license as well, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's go this way. We're going to go to the back and take some photos. Everybody want to follow us? We're going to go to the back and take some photos.
Mr. Parks.
Can I have your arm? I have it.
Good morning, sir. Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of the 8th District, we'd like to bring up Dr. Shepard, and she's joined today with a number of guests, Dr. Larry Moore, Dr. Laverne Moore, Miss Peggy McClellan, Miss Amadi Johnson, and then we have the star of the show, Chase Boyd Shepard, is also here. The reason that we wanted to honor Dr. Shepard, several reasons. We've seen her here on a number of occasions because of the work that she's done as principal of the Tom Bradley Environmental Science and Humanities Charter Magnet. and she's been a long-time advocate and educator in the city of Los Angeles. She coined a motto for her students that says basically anything a mind can conceive and then can believe can be achieved. And with that, she has followed that motto for herself. She actually has been educating people since the age of 5 in all of the childhood games that she played. She always directed that she was the teacher. She would carry on from teaching her fellow friends and also even took time to practice on inanimate objects such as trees and other things. At the age of 19, she recalls that it was probably one of the more fundamental concerns is that her teacher actually and counselor told her that she could not be a teacher. She could not achieve her personal goal. She then basically set in motion a just watch me and see attitude. She is a native of Los Angeles. She has received her education from a variety of institutions. She's covered the gamut from AA degree at LA City College, Bachelor's of Arts from Cal State, University of LA, Master's degree at Pepperdine, and a doctorate at Golden State University. She's married to Reverend Eldon Shepard, and they have 3 children. She has been honored in so many ways as a guest speaker. She has created a variety of sessions that she goes out in workshops, and some of them are believers, receivers, and achievers. She has one that deals specifically for the black male child, survival of the endangered species, has one that's identified specifically for teachers, practice what you teach. She's also been a motivational speaker and helps our young students get to the SAT exams. She's had a number of awards and commendations and been honored by a variety of organizations. A couple of them are the Bethlehem Temple Church, where she serves as the Sunday school superintendent. She also has had a number of personal accomplishments and award. One of the most significant is she's in Who's Who in the field of elementary education. But one of the things that I wanted to bring her here today because she's done, and we've seen her here on the Black History Month on the Authors Club a number of times, but she's actually an author now. She's written a book, but what's very unique about it, it was inspired by her granddaughter, and they provided you each with a bookmark. If you hold it upright, it looks like a smiling face, and that's what the message in the book. If you turn it over, it looks like an angry face, which is what they're trying to advance that you shouldn't do. And so the thing that I think is so important, we wanted to highlight, Chase came in one day after school and made a comment. She says, I hit she back, and so her grandmother says, no, hit she back with love. And the whole book is about how to eliminate conflict and how young people should not fight and how young people should get along. And I wanted Dr. Shepard to come up and make some comments about this because I think it's, as she's been in education all of her life, and it just goes to show that even in her everyday life of nurturing and helping raise her grandchild, that she's looking for learning moments, and out of just one statement and an incident, she's created a learning guide for young people on how to address conflict in their community. So I'd like to ask Dr. Shepard to come up and make some comments.
Thank you.
Everybody come up first.
Thank you, Councilman Park. It's nice to be back again. It's good to see you. It's of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed. His compassions fail not. And we too must have those compassions because there is a destiny that makes us brothers and sisters. And none of us go our way alone. All that we send into the lives of others comes back into our own. To our honorable council, men and women, and to our honorable mayor, and to all of those who are here now. I mean, that's kind of like our mission in life. And our mission in life is to make the world a better place. I was driving down El Segundo one day, and a guy jumped in front of me, and I tooted the horn lightly, and he became very angry. And when our cars came side by side again, he rolled his window down, and I knew he was ready to curse me out. And I just finished speaking to a sorority. I was on my way to speak to a women's prayer group, and I didn't want to hear his stuff. So when he looked at me and he opened his mouth, I said, hi, 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 hi. Scared him to death. All right, okay. Because he thought, God, this lady probably knows my mother. All right. Look what I almost did. But when Chase came home one day and she said, she was 2 years old when we did the book, and she came home and she said, she didn't know why people fought. Now, the book is for children, but it's for adults too. Because if people give you a lemon, you should make lemonade out of it. But when she came home, she said, now I know, Grandma. She said, Cassidy hit me, and I hit she back. And she smiled like, now I know what to do when somebody hits you. And I said, no, 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 baby, you cannot hit back. You have to hit back with love. If you treat mean people the way they treat you, you become like them. And I said, no, no, no. So next time, Chase, hit him back with love. Hit him back with kindness. Hit him back with concern. Hit him back with caring. Hit him back with sharing. Hit him back with patience. And help them to understand now. All the books are with my hats on. Did you always see me with a hat? So when she took pictures, we were doing hats out for Mother's Day, so we just decided to use the pictures. But the best part of this book is at the back of the book, when she said to me, Grandma, I'm not hit any people back anymore. And that was progress to me. Because what's love got to do with it? Everything. And you know what? Let me tell you what happened. When she started to do that, next day she came home, she had a little problem. I said, what happened? And she bit she back. I said, no, 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 baby. You can't hit back and you can't bit back. No, no way. So we had to go through that. I said, I'm not writing a new book now. All right. But the book is a message to everybody. In this time of bullying, and we're dealing with so much bullying in the school district, I have been in education with Los Angeles Unified School District for 53 years. I've been principal at Tom Bradley for 25 years. And when I look at the condition of society today and the angry people, we have to have a whole lot of nice people to counteract angry people, because they're right where you work. They're right where you walk. They're right where you drive. They're everywhere. But if we can turn meanness with kindness, all right, if we can turn mean people around and help them to understand that it pays to be kind, it pays to do what you need to do. I'm so happy I found out yesterday, and I've been so busy, and I had a conference where I found out, so I just called some of my friends right quick, two of the fine teachers at my school, Miss McCullen and Miss Johnson, two of my very fine teachers, and my former boss, Dr. Larry Moore. Maybe some of you remember Dr. Moore. His sister is Gwen Moore, and his dynamic wife, a dynamic educator, former principal of many schools in Los Angeles. And so I said yesterday, but just see if you can come, because I'm so appreciative to Councilman Parks and all the things he's doing in our community, in our neighborhood, in our city. He's making a difference in society, and I do appreciate that. And so when they called me yesterday, I said, yes. Now I want you to take this bookmark, and I want you to keep it on your desk and keep it this way. Because if you turn it that way, you'll let people bring you down. And I refuse to let anybody bring me down. Because there is a destiny that makes us sisters and brothers. None of us go our way along. All that we send into the lives of others comes back into our own. Treat meanness with kindness. Treat mean, evil people with kindness. And that's what you look at when you look at the Nurses Society. And I looked at the early childhood education presentation, and my whole philosophy is that it's better to build children than to repair men and women. And that's what we try to do. I see Janice over there. Her father was such a dynamic support in our lives and life of my family. And you know, all the people that have made such a difference, Jan, Perry, and all of you, and Mr. Labange, and Mr. all of you. I'm not calling your names, I'll get in trouble. But thank you, because you're the kind of people that make a difference in the world, and we love you, and we thank you very much. Chase was wanting to say one thing that you say at Chase.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I hope you like my book. I like it too.
Mr. Labange. Mr. Labange.
Doctor, I just want to stand up. All of us want to stand up. And Bernard, this is great to recognize someone for such a career, 53 years, but also continuing, and also with the message is so important. We love you. God bless the name of Tom Bradley, too, and a great school.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Thank you, Mr. Labange.
In fact,
Thank you, Dr. Shepard.
They're fixing to name the post office at 39th and Crenshaw. They're having a big ceremony. They're going to name it Tom Bradley Post Office. All right. Okay. All right.
We're going to take a picture here. Come on.
Thank you, Dr. Shepard. Thank you, Mr. Parks. Ms. Hahn, when you go up, why don't you stay there for your reconsideration, I think, of number 7? You have a reward motion. We can take care of it while you're up there. Thank you, Ms. Hahn.
I know I already gave you this once. Wait, you guys can all come? Come on. We could use some backdrop here. Not the Teresa, it's a backdrop.
No, kidding.
Come on.
Got that one right.
Come on. Yeah. Hi, colleagues. Tom and other colleagues, today we're honoring yet another of our retiring city employees. Dr. Ralph Appy will be retiring after 22 years of service at the Port of Los Angeles. Ralph has earned a wide array of advanced degrees, including a bachelor's in marine biology, a master's in biology, and a PhD and a PDF in zoology. He began his career with the port in 1988 as a Marine Environmental Assistant 2 in the Environmental Management Division and progressed to Assistant Director in 1990 and then to Director of the division. While there, he was instrumental in the creation of some groundbreaking environmental initiatives such as the Water Resources Action Plan in 2009 and the San Pedro Bay Port's Clean Air Action Plan in 2006, which has been the groundbreaking foundation for growing our port, but growing it green. He oversaw 1,000-page long environmental impact documents for projects such as the San Pedro and Wilmington waterfront projects and the TRAPAC and China shipping terminal projects. He has been honored many times for his good work. With his degree in zoology, Ralph has always been a friend of the wildlife, which translated to his job, where he was instrumental in the creation and maintenance of the 15-acre California lease tern nesting site at the Bataquitos Lagoon site in San Diego County. And we also have a lease tern nesting site on Pier 400. I've seen it. While doing all of this, Ralph has also dedicated countless hours to community service, including sitting on the boards of the ITEP Global Environmental Science Academy at Banning High School and the San Pedro Youth Coalition. And as a lifelong soccer player, Ralph has also volunteered countless hours to the American Youth Soccer Organization as a commissioner, a coach, a referee, and committee member, as well as being very supportive of and in the creation of the Field of Dreams sports complex in San Pedro, which has, how many fields?
9 or 10.
9 or 10 soccer fields in San Pedro. Ralph was also the soccer coach for my son Mark, and instilled in him not only good skills and playing techniques, but really instilled in Mark a love of soccer, which I told you has really showed itself during the World Cup finals. Mark was up early in the morning watching games, and he remembers very fondly, would consider you probably one of the best coaches he ever had in soccer or in baseball. So I wanted to always thank you for that. We haven't always seen eye to eye on everything, but that doesn't change the fact that you have really served our city well, you've served our port well, you've served the youth of the harbor area well, and I really do wish you a happy and healthy retirement. I know that your wife Teresa is here today, as well as some of your colleagues from the port. Deputy Executive Director Molly Campbell is here. We understand Dr. Natz is out of the country. And Molly, would you like to say a few words before I present this to Ralph?
That would be great. On behalf of the department and Geraldine and the entire management team, you know, we're going to miss Ralph. He has done a tremendous job. When the mayor came in and said we want to grow this department and grow it green, Ralph was on the front line of making that happen. And a lot of us were the support, that we tried to be as supportive as possible to make sure that that happened. And as Councilwoman Hahn mentioned, a 1,000-page document. I mean, I don't know if any of you have a visual on that. It's almost like a tabletop, and he produced that and has done a tremendous job for us. And I just want to congratulate him and wish him well in his retirement and let him know that I personally will miss him tremendously. Thank you so much for all that you've done.
Thank you. Anybody else on the floor want to say anything? Yeah, I know. So on behalf of the entire city of Los Angeles, our mayor, and all the council members, we would like to present to you this official resolution highlighting some of your benchmarks that you've achieved in your career, and also it certainly is a token of our debt of gratitude that we owe you for the wonderful service that you have given the city at the Port of Los Angeles. So thank you, Ralph. Congratulations. I do wish you the best on this next chapter in your life.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Quick photo op. Want to say something, Ralph?
I just want to say a couple things. Number one, it's much better to be standing here than sitting there. This is really an honor. It's to think of it. This is you represent one of the largest populaces of any metropolitan area in the U.S., and to receive this honor is great. Everything that has been accomplished in my little corner of the world has been through collaboration from many of the staff of the Harbor Department, a commission we had, and the councilwoman and the council itself. I would also like to recognize Janice on two accounts. Number one is for her support of youth recreation in San Pedro, and it goes without saying that the Field of Dreams and many other accomplishments wouldn't have occurred without support there. And second, on account of relationship with the Harbor Department during our development of many of the environmental programs, was where she acted as a conscience, if you would, I think, of the Harbor Department. And I thank her very much for that. And again, thank you, Council, for this wonderful recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you.
I should also say that when you talk about collaboration, you have to collaborate, particularly with your wife.
I know.
And my long hours at the office were certainly well covered at home by Teresa, my wife, who is also a chemistry teacher. And so she took on the role pretty much of raising our children, except when I was coaching them. So here with me today, my wife, Teresa.
Come up here so they can see you.
And back here is Bob Henry, who is also a retiree, come back incarnate to the Harbor Department. Julie Huerta, longtime friend. Yolanda Mativa, who is my administrative assistant in my office and really did all the work. Teresa Scognamello, who is in our air group in the environmental division, who's worked on many of the mitigation programs in San Pedro, and one of those persons that goes out and talks to the community. And I also would say that in developing many of the programs we've had, we have a wonderful team of senior managers, and Molly Campbell is certainly representative of that, and I really take my hat off to them allowing me to have some accomplishments. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn.
Did we get enough pictures? Or okay, do you want to put it back? I don't have time.
And
if they get all set up.
Now we need to open the roll and reconsider, motion to reconsider item 7. So can we open the roll on item 7 for reconsideration? Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Now item 7 is before us, Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this is about a reward motion that we've been asked to approve today on the City Council. Right here. Colleagues, this is a very, as they all are, senseless homicides in our city. Shavonna Jones was 30-year-old. She was shot to death on Saturday, May 22nd in the 105th and Central Avenue in Watts. She was killed while her two sons were sleeping, and her body was discovered by her 15-year-old son. Detectives continue to search for who did this with little or no leads. And I hope you will approve this $50,000 reward, and we hope that it helps the investigation move forward, encouraging someone, somewhere, to come forward with any information that they may have pertaining to the senseless murder of the mother, Shavonna Jones. And today we have with us Shavonna's mother, Johnny Mae Jones, her aunt, Dorothy Fullenwider, her cousin, Audica Tucker, and Detective Potter. And I was wondering if someone from the family would feel like speaking at all. I know it's so hard. Does anybody from the family want to say something?
Maybe the detective could
Okay, then the
speak.
detective, would you like to come speak? I'm so sorry.
I'd like to acknowledge Councilwoman Hahn, her office, and the council for considering this motion. Obviously, the tragic death of Shavonna Jones is very important to LAPD, and we're seeking any information that will lead to the arrest and conviction of a suspect in this case. Shavonna's mom, aunt, and cousin are here today, and we want to bring some resolution to this tragedy for them also. Anyone with any information, they can call our office at 213-485-4341 or 877-LAPD-247. Thank you.
Thank you, Detective. And we hope someone out there sees something, or has seen something, knows something pertaining to this case, and we ask you to call LAPD immediately. Shavonna's family is still, as you can tell, extremely broken up about this, extremely grief-stricken, and to the family, we are so sorry, and we hope that our actions today will help bring forward the information that we need to give you a small bit of closure in this terrible case. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. If we could open the roll on this item, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
And our condolences go out to the family. Thank you. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Okay.
Madam President, that would bring us to item number 3, called Special for Cards.
All right. You know, I don't have any cards in here for item 3. Unless they're Miss
Arnold Sachs.
Oh, Mr. Arnold Sachs.
There's no 7 up for maybe revisit.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Arnold Sachs. You want to do a program to secure and collect unpaid tax assessments owed to the city. Since DWP has been in the headlines so frequently lately, and the sums of money that they're supposed to pay the city's general fund is done in lieu of property taxes, and the DWP seems to have pulled a fast one on the council, yet the DWP is a public utility. Maybe the public would be interested in having the DWP pay property taxes. Or, conversely, maybe the people that owe on their property taxes would like to get in the program that DWP is in, where they just make payments to the city. Nobody knows the amount of money that DWP is paying to the city, what the relationship is into its property taxes it might pay. But there was an item on the agenda a couple of weeks ago regarding some property in Kern County, and DWP pays property taxes in Kern County. So why doesn't DWP pay its fair share of property taxes in the city of LA, or at least Why doesn't it come to the public's attention that a public utility is not being forthcoming in how much it would pay in property taxes versus making these yearly payments to the general funds, which seem to involve some kind of teeth pulling to get in lieu of paying property taxes? Maybe they should have the same standards that the public has, or again, maybe the public should have the same standard as DWP. It is a public utility.
John Walsh. Mr. John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging with Mickey at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org. Gmail us at HollywoodDems, DEMS, at gmail.com. Email us or Gmail us. We have waited for 2 hours listening to nauseating self-congratulation. We ask you to take Monday and Thursday and do all of these proclamations and reserve Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday for city business. And there's nothing more important than securing and collecting unpaid tax assessments owed to the city. And if you agree with me out there watching that your time has been wasted, call 473-7013. That's 473-7013. That's Eric Garcetti's number. I'll give you his home number next time. But call him at his office if he doesn't listen and tell him that you, the public, don't want to sit here for 2 hours. And I want to finish by saying I don't give a syphilitic rat's hindquarters that the airport police won a basketball game. I'm not
President,
interested
he is not
in
talking
this.
about this item.
HollywoodHighlands.org.
All right, thank you. Mr. Parks.
Madam Chair, colleagues, this is a long-awaited ordinance that gives extra power to the Department of Finance and its general manager that allow liens to be placed prior to going to a legal system. It doesn't prohibit us later going to the legal system, but it aids them in the collection, and I'd ask we have an aye vote so that we can move forward. It should also help us on our ongoing collection of debt in the city of LA, and I'd ask that we go forthwith after the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Open the roll, please, on this item. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item.
Madam President, now would be the time for comments from the public on items not on council's agenda.
Let's go to item 6 first. All right, Mr. Sachs on item 6, please come forward. Mr. Walsh, you also have a card on this. So while Mr. Sachs is walking up, Mr. Walsh will be our next speaker.
Two hours of presentations, you're all asleep at the wheel. You know what the rest of us feel like. Item number 6, these tech-exempt bonds for the Southern California Institute of Architecture. Again, in the news lately regarding bonds and being issued. What is the grade on these bonds versus what are the grades of the city's bonds that were downgraded because of the DWP transfer that didn't occur, then that did occur, that by not getting the ECAP increase, deteriorated the DWP bonds so that they couldn't make the transfer, that they did make the transfer. The ratings that are involved here on these bonds. That's what we're interested in, because all this other information that came across council chambers regarding these other bonds being issued, regarding the city bonds, regarding the billion-dollar bonds, and the banks that are issuing these bonds. Are these banks also on the list that are having lawsuits against the city? Would that be involved here also? Or is this the brokerage houses that have lawsuits against the city. There's a lot to be considered for the public's information, just very little forthcoming from the City Council. Thank you.
Mr. Walsh?
John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands with an S.org. There's a new post up there. There hasn't been a post up there in a long time. You'll enjoy it. You know, it's been so long. We've been waiting so long. Mr. Kokorian, they won't show you, he's eating his lunch at the table. I don't blame him. He must feel starved after 2 hours of listening to nauseating self-congratulation. But on this issue, the question is, this is a free deal. Do you understand what tax-exempt bonds mean? Tax-exempt bonds means that you're going to have to cut back on employees. The evil unions, you know, the right-wing evil unions. Get rid of the evil unions. Tax-exempt bonds for who? $25 million for the Southern California Institute of Architecture. Anybody here want it? There's hardly anyone here. 1, 2, 3. Weezer and Garcetti are talking. Incidentally, just call up Garcetti. He's paying no attention. 473-7013. Eric, next time I'll give him your home phone number. Okay? And then I'll give him a special number in San Francisco. HollywoodHighlands.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Open the roll, please. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you. We need to do public comment before we go into the special meeting?
Correct. Now would be the time for comments from the public on items on the council's agenda.
I'm going to call the public comment cards. Christopher McPherson, are you here? Christopher McPherson? Christopher McPherson. Arnold Sachs, come on up. While you're coming up, Mr. Walsh, you can come up. Arnold Sachs, come on up. Mr. Walsh, why don't you come up too? Dr. Williams.
Good afternoon, Arnold Sachs. How hypocritical of you to have any kind of information regarding these libraries that you have on your agenda today. Like the man said, 2 hours of special presentations. Not so much your time, but you have staffs here. Just exactly for the public's perspective, just exactly what does it cost to operate this city council for 1 hour with the amount of staff that you have here, with the amount of police that you have here? Just exactly what does that cost? And then you're hypocritically going to decry how painful it is to cut child care services, to cut librarians, while you're standing here patting yourselves on the back. Do it on your time. Don't cut city services while you have the audacity to have these self-congratulatory moments that take 2 hours. Limit your intake. Cut your time to 2 minutes per speaker when you have these ceremonial rites. Show the public something. That being said, it's great to know. Oh, by the way, did you see the picture in the newspaper yesterday about the employee watering the police yard during the daylight? This is after 2 hours of having discussion on how many days you can water your lawn. I'm lost for words. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. We have a big, as you know, our new post, incidentally, we have named Meg Whitman, as the worst-dressed politician in California. We're getting a lot of press on it. Take a look at our website. She is absolutely the worst-dressed politician. Incidentally, We're nonpartisan because the second worst dressed is Mr. Brown. But in any case, we have a crime wave. Eric, I was just talking to, we have a gay bashing crime wave in Hollywood late at night, after 2 a.m., when the clubs close. Look at the Frontiers magazine. We need a clean sweep. We need new council people. There is I don't know, Mr. Rosendahl, I assume you read Karen Ockham. I assume you realize, and it's not just, when they beat up a heterosexual, it doesn't get any press. But the gay press is good, and I'm telling you, if you're out in Hollywood now, late at night, in Garcettiville, you're going to be beaten up, you're going to be raped, and you're going to be robbed. It's out of control. We need a new captain. The captain in Hollywood is the worst captain we have had since Feinberg. And when those days, when the LAPD was having sex with Girl Scouts at Griffith Park. Do you remember those days? Before your time. That's a long time ago. Homeless housing on Eric, making a big deal about his new homeless housing. He tore down 24 perfectly good units that were run by the Presbyterian Church to build homeless housing. We're talking about right now, incidentally, I'm so happy that the federal government didn't give you your $25 million for your silly little trolley. You're asking them for $8 billion for the subway for the sea. You couldn't even get $25 million for your little Weezerville trolley. HollywoodHighlands.org. Look at it now. Call Eric at his phone number and tell him what a terrible job.
Thank you very much. Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams.
Dr. Clyde Williams, 4115 Bear Road, El Sereno, Northeast LA. I can wait, but anyway. Friends of Southwest Museum are waiting for what's happening to the Southwest Museum. That is the city's oldest real museum. It's been closed for a long time. Autry National Center has been trying to get rid of it one way or the other. So now, what are we looking at? We're looking at a land agreement that has not been fulfilled. We're looking at a merger agreement which was perfunctorily fulfilled, maybe. We're looking at other agreements. We were told last time that there is an agreement between Autry National Center and Rexon Park regarding the Griffith Park campus. However, we've looked through the minutes of the commission meetings, and it wasn't there. And we'll be giving another PRA request to the Rexon Park for finding this agreement, because we don't know where it is. Based upon the past, the Autry National Center, Jackie Autry and John Gray, have not kept their promises. They won't keep their promises. And moving the Southwest Museum collection over to Burbank is a good expression of that. They have not fulfilled the land lease agreement. They moved things out of the Southwest Museum and put them into the Autry National Center. And they were supposed to notify the Rexon Park whenever there was a major change, such as the Braun Library. We only simply request that the city attorney look into the entire land lease agreements of Rexon Park, find out all of these agreements that supposedly have been made, and if they haven't been complied with, declare default on the Autry National Center Griffith Park campus.
Antonio Ramirez, and then after Antonia Ramirez is Rob Cooper. Is Rob Cooper still here? Rob? Bob, okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a call to action, and hence we are putting the following on notice. The President of the USA, Barack Obama, the Congress, the United States Supreme Court, the California Supreme Court, the U.S. legal jurisprudence, all law schools, all courthouses across America, and all our self-serving political leeches, with the exception of the Honorable Councilwoman Lucille Kring and the Honorable Mayor Kurt Pringle. Yes, We among millions want to reform immigration laws. Start by deporting all illegal illegal aliens. Enforce the immigration laws now, not tomorrow, but now. Beef up ICE and at full throttle. So we law-abiding Mexicans, right here, with the American naturalization, are not subjected to criminal violence, discrimination, or preferential treatment by these predominantly Latino gangbangers and their ferocious criminal empire. Thus, we end up with these illegal criminal aliens byproduct, their children who take over and become more violent, reckless, abusive, wicked, diabolical, and no one wants to eradicate this gangbanging mafia cartel that has penetrated all of America. But I know of many Mexican Americans and our military veterans who are also subjected to gross violence and abuses by these homicidal maniacs, the moronic buffoons like the LAPD downstairs. They are Casado, Jerry Garcia, W. Arvizo, A. Ramirez. We're not related, thank you. And they were abusive, they went through my bags, and they were looking for contraband or terrorist weapons. I have none. I'm not a terrorist. And I told them, you would never do that to an African American, you would never do that to a Jew, you would never do that to a white, you would never do that to an Asian, but you would do it to a Mexican, one who stands with the huevos. And I told that to Dina Poli, and Officer Dina Poli, you were very polite, thank you. To cure the problem, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you put Asian officers downstairs? I'm sick and tired of being harassed. Look at me. I'm a Mexican with documents before I left Mexico, went airborne in New York City. So do me a favor, put Asians downstairs. They are kind, tactful, elegant, and beautiful. Forget these wetbacks. Get rid of them. Thank you.
Mr. Bob Cooper.
How you doing? I shouldn't be happy, but I'm blessed today. My mother and father are dead. And these crooks are running me down about the insurance. I've been a year trying to collect my insurance. It's all because of Larry Parker, Peter Wisner, John Allergo. These are all attorneys, you know, and Rampart police officers moonlight for them. We got a man next door to me that was supposed to be watching me, supposed to be a spy for Rampart police, and he's dead. They got a red tag on his door. Keep his mouth shut. The only reason he's dead is because he's a homosexual. And you know, gay people, they talk a little bit. You know, I've been discriminated in housing and in law enforcement, disenfranchised from every agency, from Secret Service agency to the FBI. You understand? This is my apartment. This is my apartment 3 years ago. They took what is that? They took $5,000 out of my bank account because I was trying to get a lawyer with the $5,000. That was my, what is it called? War chest. They took that. This year, 10,000 and up, you know. Now it's $1 million that they took with me. Insurance policy, they made sure I didn't collect on that on 2006. I mean, 6/2/2010, $1 million. $3,000 was awarded to me by the housing authorities, but I got run out of town by Rampart police before I could collect everything in my apartment taken from me. You know, this is what I get. You know, I lost my job here. These two police officers come, had no reason. They were taking the security screens off after paying the landlord to harass me, take the security screens off the windows, and just come in, you know, just call the police. You know, I lost my job 2 weeks later after giving Rampart my job description. Look, do something about this, will you? I don't need to come down here every week. Thank you. You have a blessed day, and I am blessed. I might be sitting up there.
Thank you. Walter Bechtel.
Good morning. I wanted to come back. I was laughed at last time I was here by Reyes, one of the couple of council members on this side, Reyes, and I think even Mr. Garcetti, about the fact that I think that there should be some kind of a law that redescribes an automobile to be a murder weapon. You know, it's funny now, but you people, I can just see it right now. When one of the council members is going to get run over in a crosswalk here by one of these half-drunk people, like last night, this guy, he attempted to kill two women in a I forget what that was, it's over towards Malibu area. He attempted to murder two people in a crosswalk, he missed them, and he ran into two officers, killed himself and killed the driver. These people got murder in their eyes, we need to do something. But I just wanted to say something now because you laughed at me when I was up here last time, and I can just see it's going to happen. One of you council members, council president, maybe the mayor, who knows, is going to get run over, and then, boy, you're going to be all, hey, we need to pass a law. That's when I'm going to laugh. Because I said something already, and a lot of people have been angry about this. We remember when a couple of people down there towards the museum area were ran over, and they got convicted. The guy, the two people that ran those two people over, and just, scraped them off of the car. He got stuck, he died on top of the car, and they just pushed him over onto the side and then drove off. They finally identified him, arrested him, and they were only sent to jail for 7 years. Instead of a second-degree murder like it should have been, they were only convicted for an automobile kind of a related accident. That needs to be changed. The law needs to be changed. Those people shouldn't be getting out of jail at all. And because their intention is to get behind that wheel, and their intention is to murder people. We need to change that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. That ends public comment for the regular meeting. We will now recess the regular meeting. Mr. Clerk, if you would call the roll on the special meeting.
Heller, Concarnes, Hahn, Huizar, Perez, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Wesson, Zion, Garcetti, 11 members present. And
all right. What is our first item on the special agenda?
That would be item number 8.
Right. Item 8 for cards. Mr. John Walsh and Dr. Williams. Whoever is closest can come first. Dr. Williams, you're going the wrong way. Come back this way.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Well, all the brouhaha concerning the appointment of Barnett has subsided. You don't see either side. We definitely support. It's the only minority that can't represent itself, the animals. They can't form organizations. They can't come up here and speak. They are the ultimate when it comes to a persecuted will be the animals. And, of course, capitalism wants to treat animals like they are products. Ms. Barnett, I had a communication with Mr. Gus. I take the same position they do. I have very, very grave reservations about this Barnett. Should probably last the way the previous appointees last, just a year or so, and then there'll be a controversy, and then she'll be gone, and your next savior will come in. HollywoodHighlands.org. Read it now. The world's worst dressed woman, just California's worst dressed politician, Meg Whitman.
Thank you very much. Dr. Williams.
Good afternoon. Dr. Clyde Williams, El Sereno, Northeast LA. A member of the Friendly Arroyo Seco Trappers. We've collected about 200 cats. Why? Because these are feral cats. They breed, they reproduce, they have a lot of cats in the city of Los Angeles. We tried to help. And by doing so, we were able to reduce the population of cat growth in the city of Los Angeles, Northeast LA. Part of that was a good program. But then the city withdrew from the program because there wasn't an EIR, or environmental considerations, regarding the collection, neutering, spaying, and return of cats to the city. So I would hope that the new general manager will resurrect that program that was functional, was working, and a lot of people were giving a lot of time to volunteering to clean up the city and to help the animals that do not have representation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That ends our speaker cards. Please open the roll on this item.
Madam President, pardon the interruption. For the record, Ms. Barnett's salary has been set at $192,000 per year.
All right. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Madam President, that would bring us to item number 9, called Special for Cards. There has been a request to continue that matter for 1 week to Friday, July 23, 2010.
All right, great. Without objection, we will continue that item until which date?
1 week, July 23, 2010.
Okay, that'll be, item 9 will then be continued to July 23rd without objection.
Madam President, do you wish to adjourn the special meeting and
Yes,
return
let's
to the
adjourn
regular?
the special meeting.
Madam Council has motions for posting and referral.
Motions are posted and referred.
The desk is clear.
All right, members, are there any announcements? Members, any announcements? Mr. Parks.
Forging his name on his property. Second. Thank you, Madam President. Just 2 announcements. We'd ask the community to come out to a health day that's put on by Cedar Sinai Medical Center in Numero Uno grocery stores, and they're going to have this at the Numero Uno store at 97th and Figueroa, Saturday, July 17th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and also through the community outcry about the Grim Sleeper case and now the conclusion, Bethel AME Church is going to co-host a meeting for the public to get advised by the working detectives about this case on Thursday, July 22nd, 6:30 to 8 p.m. At Bethel AME at 7900 South Western. And we'd ask the public, if you're interested, to come out. The detectives will be there to advise as to the status and also the issues that they may need more community support.
Members, any other announcements? Mr. Labange?
Members, I just want to let you know at the Chinese American Museum, right in the heart of Vera Street, there's an exhibit is now through May 29th of next year, a full year, remembering Angel Island. Though often nicknamed the Ellis Island of the West, this mission for Angel Island served its entirely different purpose than its East Coast counterpart, particularly for Chinese immigrants. The passage of the 1882 Chinese Inclusionary Act subjected many Chinese to intense interrogation and detention on Angel Island that lasted weeks, months, and sometimes even years. The ordeal of this experience left an incredible mark on the lives of Chinese immigrants that forever changed the course of American history. Remembering Angel Island will provide a bracing look at the hope and heartaches of this sentimental chapter of immigrant history through the historic photographs, reproduction poems carved on the barracks of Angel Islands, as very many artifacts and multimedia stations that talk to the Angel Island experience. It's absolutely amazing that in our history, the Chinese Inclusionary Act was such a harsh law that affected the lives of many, many, many million people, especially those who worked so hard to help develop California in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Thank you.
Mr. Labange. Any other announcements? Members, would you please rise for adjourning motions? And I'd like to begin by adjourning in memory of Vonetta McGee, who was born Vonetta McGee in San Francisco on January the 14th, 1945, and passed at the age of 65 on July 2nd, 2010. She was an actress whose big screen heyday was during the 1970s and included leading roles in films entitled Blackula and Shaft in Africa. She launched her film career in 1968 in Italy, where she appeared in the spaghetti western The Great Silence and played the title role in the comedy Faustina. In 1972, she appeared in an action film, Hammer, and had starring roles in the crime drama Melinda and the horror film Blackula. She went on to appear with Richard Roundtree in Shaft in Africa and co-starred with Max Julian in Thomasina and Bushrod. McGee also appeared with Clint Eastwood in the 1975 action thriller The Eiger Sanction. In the 1980s, her career turned primarily to television, and that included playing Sister Indigo on Robert Blake's short-lived 1985 dramatic series Helltown, and in the syndicated 1987-1988 sitcom Bustin' Loose. She also played a recurring role on L.A. Law and appeared in several episodes of Cagney and Lacey as the wife of Detective Mark Petrie, played by Carl Lumley. McGee and Lumley were married in 1986 and had a son, Brandon. In addition to her husband and son, she is survived by her mother, Alma McGee, 3 brothers, Donald, Richard, and Ronald, and a sister, Alma McGee. She will be deeply missed by all, and I know that Mr. Parks said that he wanted to second this motion. Thank you. Any other adjourning? Mr. Alarcon also. Any other adjourning motions? Any adjourning motions? All right, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.